Hello, my name is Frederik Steinmetz for BlenderDiplom.com and welcome to this little tutorial about random in general and specifically inside the animation nodes. I've already activated the add-on, which you can see by this little symbol here, and I've created a new node tree. What I'm going to do is insert a text so we can display our random number in the 3D viewport. And then I'm going to go to Number, Randomize, and I'm going to create a text object, which would be a text output object. I'm going to select my text. Now it's empty, but if I connect the value here, you can see it gets a text, but that's too long for comparison. So what I'll do is I'll trim the text, and a trim to 5 should be fine. So we got 0, point, and then 3 numbers left. Now in order to make this, we don't need the 0.0 all the time, so I'm going to make the highest value 10. And just for comparison, I'm going to duplicate this text object, and then I'm going to duplicate all these nodes. Of course, I'm pressing V to box select and then Shift D to duplicate, and this text needs to be the upper value as well. Okay, so now these two are different, and that's because the animation nodes automatically put in an additional seed here. I'm going to put this to 0, and there we can see we got the same number twice, even though it's supposed to be random. So why is that? A computer can do nothing but math. So whenever you do math, the result will be the same. 2 plus 2 always equals 4. 3 times 3 always equals 9. So there's no way we can have a formula where you put the same number as an input and get a different number as an output. I can demonstrate this with a simple example. I'm sorry this is German, but all we need are the nodes. The English page of this was incredibly complex, so this is the easiest part I found. It's called the square middle generator. What it takes is it multiplies a number by itself, squaring it, and then only takes the middle digits. You can go higher than these numbers, but what you need to do is take the middle digits. So you can see 62 times 62 is this number, and so the result would be 84. If those weren't random numbers, 84 by 84 should probably be result in a higher number than the 84, but it doesn't, it's just 0.5. And you can then use the 0.5 as the seed for the next random number. This is a very simple random number generator that will result in a loop very quickly, but it's great for demonstrating what I want to show here, because even though the series of the numbers would seem random, in starting with the value 62 will always result in the value 84, which is exactly what happens over here. We're starting with the same number. So let's increase the seed. Now you can see the number increased, but that's coincidental. If I increase the seed again, there we go, from 3 to 4, the number decreases. And the same goes for the additional seed. Okay. For science, this is kind of a disadvantage, but for us it's actually a very good thing, because we can rely that if we're using the same random number generator, and of course this new node uses the same as this one, if we put in the same seed, we'll get the different pseudo-random result. And one part where this is great is particle systems. If you have two particle systems, they actually correlate if you use the same seed in settings. So one last question remains: why do we have a seed and an additional seed? The answer is simple. You cannot animate the additional seed by using an input, but you can animate the other seed. So in general, if you see a seed, for example, with a particle simulation, that you use if you're not happy with the starting distribution of the particles, and you can just alter the seed, and then the particles will be distributed differently. course, I can do that with this seed, but for example, if I use an animation time info for the seed, then I could only use the frame value as a seed. And if I then were to do the same thing with this here, we'd get the same random numbers again. So just by putting a different number in here than there, we can use the same seed to produce a new random number in each frame, but still get two different results when we're using two different random number nodes. Since in motion graphics, random numbers or random animations almost always look better if you move around things by hand and keyframing them, the random numbers are actually a very big part of animation, and especially animation nodes in Blender, because they are basically the best tool for motion graphics. So we're going to be using the random number nodes a lot, and I wanted to make sure that you understand what they do before we dive in deeper into the matter. This has been Frederik Steinmetz for BlenderDiplom.com. Thank you for watching, and please do try this at home.